It's Ariana here again with Nor, and we are so pleased and honored to have Martin Lindstrom, one of the world's premier brand building experts. Hello, how are you feeling today?
I'm fantastic, I have to say.
Thank you very much for being here. I think all the Laureate community is appreciating this very much, and you have lots to teach us. So, first of all, we would like to know, as students, what kind of skills do you think we need to develop in order to actually find out what are the hidden, let's say, things that we actually want? So, what kind of skills do you think really need in order to find that connection when we are building a brand?
Well, do you want me to be honest or polite? You can choose.
Okay, let's be honest first, and then let's be polite first, and then honest.
Well, you should just continue what you do. I'm sure that's good. But the issue is that if you really want to change, there's three things you have to do. One, kill that mobile phone of yours and be present. The problem is people are not present today. In school, in universities, we sit like that and we are not seeing things anymore. We're not seeing things, we're not connecting with people, and we never get bored. And as we never get bored, what happens is that boredom is the foundation for creativity. And we're not creative anymore. As soon as we get bored for 5.5 seconds, we do, we have sort of and simulation going on. And that is the first thing you have to change every day. The second thing is get your hands dirty. Move in with consumers, move in with real people. I mean, what I do is I move in with real people. I've done that over the last 10 years in 77 countries, including in Peru and in Malaysia, with 2,000 different consumers. I live in their homes. I was almost kidnapped in Venezuela. I was in the favelas in Brazil. Yeah, it's scary. But you know what? It keeps you alive. Yeah. And most importantly, you see real life. When you go to university, you see an artificial version of life. What business leaders want in the future is not people which can memorize a lot of formulas. What business leaders want are three things. People which are truly creative, people which are in touch with reality, and people which have guts and creativity and courage to do things differently. So that's my second advice to you. And the third advice really is that in the end of the day, I don't have any education. No, I went out of school when I was fairly young. And I tend to say to people, education is great, but it's not the end of life. Don't be nervous. See it as a little bit of a background. But in the end of the day, what you have to do is to think about when you jump out of this university, what will make you so proud when you are 65? What is the one thing which you want to change in the world? Because you guys are lucky. In the past, it was all about money. It's not anymore. It's about changing people's lives. And that means you are in a situation now where you can do it. So that's what I would do.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank
I'm
you.
so inspired of what you said. And I'm sure that all the Laureate students watching back home are going to use it in their day-to-day life.
Yeah, so the next thing I want to ask is that in creating a brand loyalty, especially if you want to execute in another country that is not your origin country, how important is localization?
Well, localization is even more important than it's ever been, and I'll explain why. Transparency is defining our life today. Right. And people think it's good, but actually it's bad. When I was a kid and I went to my little school, I had 23 friends in school. And when I went to the exam, I had 23 competitors, right? Today, you guys have 23,000 competitors, and you will never be number one or number two or number three. We'll always be number 2,000 something. Yeah. That means we become more insecure. If you go to a housewife in China, you'll notice she's watching Desperate Housewives in the US. She compares herself and she's not happy because they have 2 cars and she has 1 car. The reality today in our lives is that transparency is changing us to the worse. And that means we retract back to our tribes, back to our communities. That's the reason why Brexit happens. That's the reason why we saw what we saw in Colombia. It's the reason why we see Donald Trump going through here. What happens is we want to have a voice. We want to have a feeling of sense of belonging. We want to make sure we are with like-minded people. And that means that the concept of global brands will die. We will in the future not see the global brands as we see today. We'll see millions of very small brands catering from small communities and small tribes, because that's, in the end of the day, what we thrive with. So it's going to be a huge change over the next 10 years.
Yeah. That's very insightful, and I think it's important to stay global. But when we enter a different market, we also understand what are the specific needs and their emotional connection to a particular brand in the context of that local region.
Absolutely.
But how do we approach this? How do we have a good local emotional connection? What would your advice to be if I'm like a company and I
Yeah.
have someone in charge of offline marketing and I want to make this localization happen?
Well, I'm actually doing it right now in Malaysia, where you're from, and I've
Great.
done it quite a lot in Peru as well. I move in the consumers, and I take the clients with me. And then we sit and observe people and talk to them, go out partying with them, we go out shopping with them, we cook with them. And we do that for several days. So I learn a lot about people's culture. And as you do that, you see another dimension of life. You see where people are out of balance. We're all out of balance. It may be I feel a little bit too overweight. It may be I feel insecure. It may be I feel I don't have enough friends. That out of balance represents a gap for an opportunity of a brand or a new service. And that's what I'm looking for. So the best thing you can do is to move in with consumers, start to learn from that, and make that become the foundation for how you build your local brands.
Great advice. We will take that into consideration in our future ventures. So
Thank you very, very much
You are
for
welcome.
being here.
You're
I think
welcome.
we have all learned a lot from you, and we'll be right away back.